All right, I'm going to go over some of the nitty-gritty details of the Mad Cow Customizer. Once you load the plugin, you can get to the settings right from here. And then, of course, if you are messing around your site later on, just under WooCommerce, you'll see the Mad Cow settings right here, or the MCW settings. Okay, so the first four tabs up here, shop, single, cart, and checkout, are very similar. We're taking advantage of many of the WooCommerce action hooks. So essentially what you'll see over here on the left is the different fields that will show up on the shop page. This is for the shop page. And then I've put in green here some of the all the locations where it will actually show up. So one of the things I just added, which is why you're not seeing anything over here, I just added the option for all of these fields because they all show up on the actual product loop. And so well, I'll just turn them on here for the shop page so we can see them in real life. Basically what was happening was if you looked on a product page or the cart page for the cross sells and the product page for I'll just show those here. So the related products down here and the cart page has the cross sells. All of this same content was showing up. And so I decided it would be better to give you the option to have it show or hide there. So anyway, coming back to the beginning here, I'm going to skip those radios for right now. So I just put content in here. I just kind of basically put the label into here. But when you load the plugin, these will all be empty, of course. And so the idea for that was that you could see in this graphic where things show up. So, before shop page main content is right there. And then the shop page description. And then all the before loop image, after loop title, and before loop cart button, and then all the way at the bottom, I'm hoping the scroll is going to work on this video, is the after shop main content. So for the PHP nerds out there like myself, one thing that's really important to note is that if there is no content here, and so these are all individual hooks, so if there's no content in your text field on your website, that hook will not run. So the idea was that we would keep the plugin light and it would only run those action hooks or filter hooks if there's content in the field. So if it's empty, I'll just go ahead and save this so you can see. The before shop main content will obviously go away. The other thing that's important to note is that I have styled my child theme to make all of my divs styled with green, italic, and bold. And so what you'll notice is, and I'll zoom this in so you can see, so some of these have the styling in the plugin, which I'll show you here in a minute, mostly the email ones, because they're kind of a pain in the neck to style. But what you'll notice is that every one of these sections, so the before shop page main content, well, actually, I'll do this one because it'll make more sense. So the shop page description, which is this guy here, it's going to have its own class. So if you want to, it's going to just show up in regular text, like whatever your default text is for a div whatever your default text styling is for a div in your theme, that's what this shop page description text will be. But you have a class here of MCW below shop title, which is below the shop title. They're not all, well, they'll all hopefully make sense, and they're all, above loop image, and that one matches the before loop image. Probably should have made those consistent, but anyway, use your inspector like normal, and you can add your own stylings to your child theme, and you can style these however you want. The other thing to make note of is that we're taking advantage of we're using WP kisses, and so you can put in regular HTML in these fields, or you can add HTML. If it's anything goofy like a script, then WordPress WP P Kisses filter will nuke it, and you won't be able to use that. So that's just trying to protect you from nefarious people. But I can put an H1 tag in here, and you can see here I can put a div in there. And so when I save and then refresh, I have an H1 tag, which again, I'm styling in my theme. And then, you can see that I gave some inline styling to my div. So it's 100 by 200, it's background blue, and has the word cheese. And again, because my styling of all of my sections here is bold, italic, and green, that's why cheese is bold, italic, and green. So you would either style the main div out here with font color white, or of course in this div you could change this. You could just add in here some inline styling. I won't do that now, and change your div. Do whatever you want, but my recommendation would also be that you probably don't want to be putting HTML down in here, because it's just going to look silly and it's going to take up a lot of space. But you can get creative with what you want to put in there. So just know that all of these fields have the ability to put in HTML. Okay, and then the last thing that I mentioned initially was on the sections, on the custom sections on the shop page, those are showing up here. And then on the single product page, this guy here, they're not showing. And so if you want those same fields to show in related products, you just check that radio button, and then your related products will have all of those pieces as well. You'll notice, by the way, I think I may change this too, because that first piece is the before shop page main content, and in the shop page description probably, well, actually the description doesn't show, but I might actually move this to its own section, because you probably don't want that particular thing on the single product page. Maybe you do. For now, I think I'm going to leave it alone, but just know that on a single product page, this loop is being called for the related products. And then while we're talking about it, it's also showing up here. So if I show it up on the cart page with this checkbox, again, that's a WooCommerce loop. It's not using the before shop page hook, so it's not showing up here because it's the cart page, obviously. But in that loop in your cross sells, it is going to show up. All those same fields that we specified on this shop page are going to show up there. So just know that you have the ability to hide those, and with that radio. Okay, back to the single product. If you click on the next tab is the single product options. I'm not going to go into all the details here, but just know that here's our beanie. I've again, with the image here, you can see where these things are going to show up. And then again, for the purpose of this video, you can see where these items show up, and then you can place your content. These probably make more sense to do, divs and stuff if you want in there. And then again, hoping the scrolling is working. Way down here, after product content, after main shop content. So one thing I'll address here is that you will find some of these hooks, at least in the video and on the images on the plugin, that they're right next to each other. And it may not make a ton of sense, like why did you put both of them there? But the reason is that these are hooks, right? So any theme out there has the ability to tie into these. So you might have a theme that's putting content in between the after product content and after main shop content, and you might want to put yours either above or below that content. So that happens on the cart page, I think. Yeah, right here. So the after cart contents hook and the below cart table hook are really close, but again, your theme might be putting stuff in here on their own. So that's why you'll see some in here, before shipping and before cart totals. Sometimes those are again, your theme will put stuff in between there, but you can only use one if your theme is not doing that. Cart page, same deal. We just looked at it over here on the right. So again, the picture is showing where these items are showing up, and same exact deal down here. Something to be careful of, and actually now that I've said this, I may actually add some more content to the descriptions, which again, these are blue because I'm styling them in my child theme. So a lot of these items, I think, I'll just use this one as an example. So the before shipping totals, and I'll probably clarify this over, it wasn't that, it was something different. Yeah, here we go. So I'll probably clarify this. So the after cart contents, which is this guy, I do make the comment here that this will span all 6 columns in the table. And really what I mean by that is it's probably important to note that this is a TD. This is a table data with a call span of 6, and it will be important for you to know that that is how that's laid out, and it's the full width. So you'll want to be a little more careful about what you put in there. So I'll probably end up specifying that over here in the directions so that you know that. And you'll see that if you put something in there and you come into your inspector and inspect it, you'll see that it's a TD and you'll know what to do with it. But anyway, that's just an important piece to note, that some of those are TDs. The vast majority of them are just divs. And check out, no real surprises here. It's the same deal. Let me close this. There's the before that announcement. I'm just basically trying to use all of the hooks. So before and after the cart contents, the shipping stuff, and then the totals. If you do check the different address, there's information here as well. It's before and after shipping. And then again, duplicated, but your theme might jam stuff in there. And it's only going to show up if you put content in either this one or that one or both. Yeah, same deal here. You only have to use one of those, but I wanted to give all the options anyway. Okay, now on to the more fun things. So email options. So I use this plugin, which is an email preview plugin, which you can see working here. These are all for the processing order email. They are not for like any of the other emails. So I may add those later on, but for now it's just the one that goes to your customer. And then this is the only order I have in place. So again, you can use HTML in here. You don't have to, but you can use HTML. And then because emails are a little more challenging to style, we needed to add them as inline styling so that when it shows up in your customer's Outlook or Gmail or whatever they're using, it's bringing those styles with it. It doesn't need to be styles on the website. So it's a little more challenging to do that. So I gave you the option to put in the styles here. And I've told you what the class is of that container. So you don't even have to inspect it. And then all you have to do is make sure that you use that in normal CSS, and then your H1 color can be red, and then just add new CSS as much as you want. This is just injected into a style element in the email, so it's going to be all inline styles. And then same thing for the footer. I've given you the class, and I've just made it blue, and you can see over here that my custom footer is blue. The other thing that I've given you the option to do here is only show my custom message, so only show what you put up here if there are specific product IDs in the order. So, for example, I have nothing in here right now. These are placeholders. You can see that goes away. And so it's showing up no matter what. And I happen to know that the t-shirt and the beanie both have, one of them, I know what their IDs are. So if I put in the wrong ID, so an ID that is not the product ID, that is not a t-shirt or a beanie, and I hit save, and then I resubmit this, my message goes away. And then, like I said, I happen to know that the t-shirt is 1708. And so if I save those changes and refresh, my message shows back up. I think I'll also, while we're doing this, well, I'll show you two things. So the other option is categories. So if I take this off, I happen to know that the t-shirt category is 205 and the beanie is 207. So if I put in category 206 and I save it, my message goes away, and that's because there are no products with a category of 206. And I'll just show you, since we're here, if you don't know this, a quick way to find your category IDs is, and it's going to be really hard to see, it's down here in the status bar. But if I mouse over t-shirts, oh, it's not quite tall enough. If I mouse over any of these categories, in the very bottom left corner down here in, I think it's called the status bar, you'll see that it says cat tag ID 206. I go to accessories, it says cat tag ID 207. So that's how you find your product categories. And then for the product ID, since we're right here, if you mouse over the product, you'll see the ID is right here, 1725. Mouse over this one, 1728. It also shows up in the status bar, but WooCommerce, I don't know, a few months ago, a year ago, whatever, added the IDs for us so we can go find those. So you can put your, like I said, we know that the t-shirt is 205. So if I save that, then my message shows back up. So it's really kind of handy. Like if you only want to put a message to your new customers, if a certain product ID or category ID is in the shopping cart or in the order at this point. Same exact functionality down here. I won't go over it again. You can show and hide, excuse me, these based on the category or product IDs that are in the order. All right, cool. So now some just general WooCommerce options. Close this. So the first one, these are all just yes, no. So basically, I am not, I'm not hiding. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that message because it's, let's get rid of all of those for now. Clean things up a bit. All right, so for general options, I refresh over here to get rid of my cows. There we go. So the short code is showing, and then the short description is right here, so I'm not removing this. I am showing the long description, which, just for giggles, I will clarify for folks if there's any question. This is the long description, the normal product description. And then if we scroll down, obviously this is the product short description. So that's the difference between those two. So if you want the long description to show where this is showing instead of down here in the description, which is the same exact, that's what the description tab is for, you can have it show right up at the top. And then these three are simply related to the tabs. So you can see that I'm hiding the reviews and the additional information tabs, but I'm not hiding the description tab. But if I wanted to, I could save that. And then you'll just see our three tabs, which we're going to go over in a little minute. And then this one's kind of neat. So if you have products that are not shippable, so if you're selling PDFs or ebooks or classes or whatever, one of the things that some of my clients found annoying is that when somebody places an order for a virtual product, that order just sits in, I can show you right here, that order just sits in your orders as processing, even though we've already got the customer's money and we're not shipping anything. You're, as a store owner, you're supposed to come in here and when you ship something, mark that order as completed, and the customer gets a new email. If you're using ShipStation, obviously that does it automatically for you, which I strongly recommend. But so anyway, if this were a virtual order, it's just they're just buying a PDF and you're automatically giving them access to the download. What that checkbox will do is automatically flip this over to completed. So basically what happens is it runs through a process that says, is anything in this order shippable? And if anything in there, it says a t-shirt in there or anything that's shippable, it will not touch it. But if everything in the order is virtual, if everything in the order does not ship, you can automatically mark them as complete. And you can turn this off, and it will be off by default. Related product cells. So this, below our tabs is the related products, and you can change the text there. This is also a handy one. So if you want to remove a specific category from showing in related products, like we have clients who have, really specific, like private products, which won't show anyway, sorry. But like, if you didn't want to show any, let's say, PDFs or whatever in your related products, no matter what, you can specify those categories right here. So for example, if I take out accessories, which is 207, and I'm going to do a really obvious one here in a second, and then just refresh so that you can really see it working. Yeah, so the beanie goes away, but let me do a more obvious one. So if I take out all of clothing, which down the bottom there tells me it's 204. So if I don't want to show any clothing, no matter what, in my related products, no matter what product the customer is viewing, and now I refresh, all you're going to see in here are albums and pennants. And if I refresh again, they'll just kind of change around. Yeah, now it's a pennant and album, so you'll see. So I've just taken out all of the clothing category from those related products. Cross sells are in the cart. So we'll go back over here. Come on. So cross sells, I've changed this to say awesome products, but I think this says you may also like as the default. And then same exact thing. If I put 204 in here, well, I'll just refresh and show you that that will probably change to something else. So there's a belt currently in my shopping cart. So I'm pretty sure this is pulling from the same category. But if we tell it no, I don't want any clothing at all, and then we refresh, it's still showing clothing. Oh, that's a product ID. Sorry, that's my fault. Let me put that down here. Oh, that's add to cart. Sorry. So I just realized I need to add this. So you can't change that here, but I'm going to add that. So you'll see a new option that says remove the following categories from showing under cross sells. Sorry. All right. So forget about that part. Going back to the next items down here, I probably should put some titles on here. Let me get rid of this and this. Okay, so what I'm doing here is single product replace add to cart text. Let's get back down here. So if I don't have product IDs or categories here, and I refresh my single product page, this will now say buy me, which is super slick. If, however, I only want to do that for, let's say, the t-shirt, which we know is 1708. And I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go back to our t-shirt, which I think is this guy. Yeah, and if I view this, the t-shirt will say buy me, but the beanie over here will go back to add to cart. So again, all you're doing is saying, I only want you to show buy me on this specific product. And we can also do it with product IDs. So if we go back to, actually this will work. So I'll do 207, which are t-shirts, and I'll take this product category out. I'm pretty sure this is still a t-shirt category. Yeah, it is right there. So this will still say, I think I may have changed that one. So 207, oh, 207 is accessories, I'm sorry. So 205 is t-shirts. If I go back to the t-shirt and refresh, that'll say buy me. And the beanie, which is not a t-shirt, goes back to add to cart because it's accessories and music. So again, you can change your add to cart text based on the product ID or the category. Sorry for that confusion there. Okay, WooCommerce custom tabs is super self-explanatory for the most part. Your tab title, which you can see is first tab. I have some, if I go back over here, there's my cows, my H1 is in there. And then you have custom styles. You don't really need this, but I figured if you're getting used to it, it might be easier than using your own child theme, but you can use your child theme as well, of course. On the second tab, I've added a div. I don't have any styling to that, but I'm styling the H5 inside the div. So this is the class of the tab, and then I'm targeting the div and the H5 inside there. So, and if you wanted to look at this, you don't really need to, but I'll go ahead and show it. Here's my tab with the ID of custom tab 2, and then there's my div and there's my H5. So you can style all those things however you want. The last thing to note here is priority, and priority is pretty important. It's how these things are ordered. So if you look at the priority, which is the last item here, the first one is 9. Actually, the first one is 9. Tab 3 is 3. Sorry, the second one is 9. Tab 3 is 3. And the first one is 31. So you can see they're in the order of 3, 2, 1. If you were to put something in here that is not a number, I'm filtering out that just so we can't break anything, and it's going to just default to 0. So now our first tab is first because it's 0, and then tab 3, and then tab 9. I did want to show this other option here. I think it's on the single product page. Are the tab? Oh, sorry. Oh, is it General WooCommerce? Sorry. So I'm hiding all my tabs here. So if I show all these tabs back up, and then I go back to my custom tabs, the default priority for the WooCommerce tabs is, I believe, 10. So since we currently have DDD, which is 0, 3, and 9, you can see that our tabs are showing up first. But if I make this one 11, we should see tab 2 move somewhere else. Yeah, so now tab 2 is showing up to the right of description. I don't exactly know what these priorities are. Maybe they're 10, 20, and 30. But you'll just be able to play around with your priorities to get them to show up in the order that you want. And then, yeah, you can style them. Okay, so the last feature here is not WooCommerce. This is just straight up WordPress. So I just messed with the ellipsis and the excerpt. So if you want to make the ellipsis a link, you just click this DS, because what happens out of the box with, at least with the WordPress 2023, which is what this theme is, it's not a link. So right now I have it set to yes, and it's just going to link, again, down at the bottom you can see it's going to markups, HTML tags, and formatting. But if I set this to no, and hit save changes, and then refresh, now it's not a link. So now you just have like the word cows there, which is silly. And then if I get rid of cows, it will go back to the default ellipsis that WordPress or your whatever theme you're using uses, which is this goofy looking thing. And again, I'm clicking it here. This is not a link. So you don't even have to change it if you don't want. You can just leave it the way it is, but at least that will convert it over into a link. So, actually it doesn't touch that. I may have to go fix that. Actually, I'm sorry. This filter only runs if there's text in here. So if you make this, let's make it something more intelligent, like read more. Now this filter will run because there's content in the ellipsis text field, and it's a link because I have yes clicked. So that's if you want to just mess with that. And then the excerpt length, what you'll notice up here is that there is no read more, and that's because I've set my excerpt length to 200. Same with this one. If I set this to 5, something ridiculous, and then refresh, my excerpt goes to 5 words, and then the read more will show up. So you can adjust the excerpt length there as well. All right, any other questions? If you're on on our YouTube channel, or if you're on the plugin page, there's links to our website, and you can just fill out a contact form. Thanks for listening.